Hey everyone, I hope you had a great holiday week. For this video, I'll share a quick recap of what got done these last few days. Progress has been a bit slow due to the holidays, but I did get a few things done, and I plan on releasing these changes by the end of the week. So let's get into it. One of the tasks I worked on was a license key form. For the sake of this next release, I called it a beta invite key. And the whole goal with this is to allow people to get access to certain pro commands. So if we take a look at this in action, let's enter here the focus command. You'll see beside it a pro badge. So if we click on this or press enter, you'll see the beta invite key form. We have a small message here explaining to the user, the purpose of TurboNav, trying to help you stay focused with a distraction-free environment. If you don't have access to a beta key, then you can just request one through the support email. But yeah, so really all this is just a hard-coded value. Eventually, I'll add support for actual license management. But for now, the purpose of this is just to get users access to the focus command so that I can start getting feedback and see where I can improve and update the feature to make it easier to use. So if we take a look now, we have access to the focus command. Now you can use the focus command, enter a window, and then enter a goal so that you can start your focus session. Overall, it was pretty straightforward to add this. Again, it's just a hard-coded value that I have here. Nothing too crazy. Something neat that I added was an Easter egg command. And so the idea here is to add a few commands that'll make it easy for me to handle a few things that I don't want to give access to certain users. So in this case, I can reset the pro account and then restart that whole flow again. That's pretty straightforward. That's it for that one. The next task that I worked on was the Windows support. Overall, the main task here was to make sure that the keyboard shortcuts match the platform. So on macOS, I wanted to have the command key, but for Windows, it would be the control key. So I got Amazon Workspace to get access to a virtual machine so that I can test this out. So now I can take a look and see the platform differences that I have to support. So for Windows, I have Control. For opening the global menu, it's Alt-M. But if we take a look here on Mac OS, it's the Alt icon for Mac. Other than that, just making sure that keyboard shortcuts are supported on both Windows and Mac. So, for example, one thing that was missing on Windows was support of Control-Enter, so that you can select a, let's see if I got focus here. Yep. So I can select all the tabs inside of a window. That wasn't working, but that was part of the task here. That's it for Windows support. Next one is Firefox support. And this was one of those tasks that I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I was hoping that I would just build the Firefox extension using the exact same code on Chrome and everything would just work fine on Firefox. It turns out there are a few differences between Chrome and Firefox. So I've listed all of these. I've worked through a few of them. For example, I was having a few issues with fonts. They weren't loading like they were supposed to. And the main reason is that for Chrome, it uses a Chrome extension hostname, but for Firefox, it uses Moz-extension. So that was just a minor difference that I had to accommodate for on Firefox. The Z-index wasn't working in a few locations, so I had to fix that. The interesting one was the global keyboard shortcut. That wasn't working on Firefox like it was working on Chrome. Turns out that there was a conflict with the input here. It was preventing the event to propagate, which I thought was interesting because on Chrome it just captures that global command, but it seems like if an input on Firefox is preventing the default behavior, then the global shortcut isn't going to activate. So It took me a little bit of fiddling around to fix that problem, but overall it was just about making sure I don't prevent default behavior from the input, and that fixed the trick. I had issues with importing bookmarks and exporting bookmarks, how to use a different API to read content from a file. I was using this new API, and I could actually walk through that really quick. Actions, data. So for Chrome, I was using this new API called Show Open File Picker. Firefox did not support that, so I had to go through this different workflow to make that work. And what's interesting with Firefox is that I had to provide an input on the command for importing to support this process. Turns out the only way to read a file is through an input HTML tag. So that took a little bit of work to get it working. So now for the widget item HTML import saved links, I had to present a different component. And so here we now have an input command that is hidden, and when you enter, it's going to invoke this input and display a file picker for you. So if I show you what that looks like really quick, import, and if I inspect this, for Firefox, there's now going to be an input HTML tag. So just a little workaround for Firefox to get that working. Yeah, that's it for Firefox support, at least what I have done so far. I still have a few items pending, like notifications not firing. I can schedule a tab and it gets stored in storage, but the notification does not appear. So something that I'm going to have to figure out. I'm also not familiar with Firefox and how it displays selected states. I noticed this weird dash dotted style on an input. It looked weird, but as I was playing around with Firefox, looks like that's a behavior that's default to Firefox. So I might just leave it like that. Overall, we'll do a complete audit of all the features to make sure that Firefox is looking good for TurboNav's first release. So really excited about that. That's it for now. I have Windows support done. Firefox support still pending. Hopefully I'll have that marked out next week. Focus command, I'm going to wait on marking that down. I want to start getting feedback to see what that experience is going to look like. But next up, I want to start working on the UI and polishing with a few animations. That's going to be really fun. So until next time, peace.